Hello there. I'm glad you're here to see the longer version of this card reading that I was called to pull during this time of our life. And this is a thing that we can actually use this information for a very long time in how we walk our life, because these are the basics of going into this world. And, going into who we are and what we're doing, we're in this big change as we've been our whole life. So here's some skills and some knowledge from the universe that this might be a good long video, but I bet you'll get something out of it if you wanted to listen. So here I go. And this is about the energies that we're walking into, but at the same time, though, it's about life, like I said. And this is the long card reading that I did. The cards, as I was shuffling them, they all flopped out. So here it is. So the first card that came out was the butterfly. So remembering that we're in the stages of life. The egg that represents the new ideas, we're being born, the new understandings of where we're at. It's also about sometimes we're in the stages of, if you're looking at the stages of the caterpillar, so are we in the stage of gaining information? What is it that we are looking at in our lives to gain? Are we, it's time to read, it's time to discern out, because caterpillar doesn't want to eat everything. So discern out what isn't for your better good, because as we're in the chrysalis, the egg or the cocoon stage, that sometimes it's about integrating what we've done. Sometimes we have to, like on a Sunday, just sit down and just be, rest and be, because we need to integrate what we've been going. Because the butterfly comes out of the shell and stretches its wings, which is not always easy, to become its beautiful self. So we're in the transformation stage, but we have to go into seeing through the dark, seeing the wisdom of life, seeing who we are, going from deception to wisdom. And, right now, like I was saying with the butterfly, that it's time to really get our own truth. It's time to really see what we want to do. Fly through the trees, fly through the wisdom, get where we need to get to. The owl and some belief systems about death to rebirth. So going into that. Okay, so many of us are stepping into fear. And the fear is not something where we need to stay. Now, these cards all have the same path, right? But it's all about perception. So if we're in the fear mode, then find communication, find out what we need, get back to knowledge, right? Get back to knowledge with the butterfly. But talk about things, because it's time to trust. So we have the 48, the 41, and the 47. So it's about getting back home, getting into that, because we're in the time where we can gain a lot of wealth in the story of us. But we have to be able to be grounded in who we are, and remembering that it's about knowledge. So when we're coming into the nourishment, the abundance, the asking, the receiving, remember we can't do the journey alone. Cow is very vulnerable, but yet at the same time it's very strong. And when it's digesting its information, it has 4 tummies to digest, but it's willing to chew on its cud. It's willing to just amble along in life, because the wealth of the wisdom. But remembering it's also getting back to yourself. So we may need to change up our diet. We may need to shift up our nourishment of who we are. What water are we drinking? What is the energy that we're in? The people around us. What are we doing with that? Because it's time to get into our physical health, to find our knowing. So physical health, the grounding, the foundation. So a lot of us aren't grounded in our understanding, and that we are perfectly imperfect in our humanness, that we are going to be who we are. So it's time to really get into that, because of the fact that if we're in the death process, and the death card is always, you cannot have a new beginning without an ending. So 4 plus 6 is 10, so 1, so new beginning. So every new beginning, but we got to be gentle with ourselves. during that process, because deer is about being gentle and diplomacy. So remember to discern what we need to do, because that was the theme of the cards, was, we have to discern through the darkness. So coming back into this, be gentle as we're going through the endings with new beginnings, but don't be fearful. Don't be fearful, because communication. So get back into communication. Ask questions, because we got to stay out of the anger. And there's a lot of anger out. WASP is about anger and jealousy, and we can't be necessarily in that to move forward. It's about stepping into community, because WASP is also about community. So how do we negotiate being? We cannot be like everyone. We can be our individual, but we have to have individual thoughts. And so sometimes we don't think that if, like I grew up in a time where if we had different opinions, we'd have conversations about it. And we know that we couldn't always agree, but yet at the same time, though, we had to watch our anger during that conversation. So be gentle with the community around you as we're going through new understandings, because the king, the male aspect, is sometimes has, it's nice to have that. We all have male and female energy in us, masculine and feminine energy in us. But it's about that, getting out of the mind and into the knowings that we have, and understanding that, because, as this card here is that this man's not necessarily facing forward, but it's to the side. So sometimes we have to sit and listen to find our authority. Sometimes we have to gain our information, because sometimes sitting and listening can really get us through the deceptions, and to get us to where we can be calmer, to keep us out of the anger. Okay? Because the fact that if we focus in on ourselves and stay out of judgment through the birth to rebirth process, that we can actually get the eagle's wisdom and the view of what is greater for us. So this is about spirit, integrity, connection with the angelic realm. But we have to be focused in. Get into your intentions. Get into your understandings. Get into your knowings. Get focused in what you want, what your truth is, because it's going to maybe be a little bit different than your parents, your family members, your understandings of life. Sometimes that focus isn't always, because of the fact that when we're going through this birth to rebirth process, we have to let go of those around us. We have to, and it's not always that we let them out of our life, but we may have to just not talk about certain things when we're around them. And sometimes we have to not tell them everything that we're doing. But that's that focus coming in, is remembering that as this path is the same on everyone, but it's all our perceptions. So do we stand in fear while we're walking down the path? Or are we in communication? Are we in trust? Are we in wealth? Because thought creates a lot of things. So focus in on your thoughts. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Are you standing in fear while you're thinking? Or are you standing in like, this is a moment and I'll move through it? Because we're in this huge birth to rebirth process to get to our higher vision, our inner strength. Every eagle has empowerment. It's grounded as it flies. So stay grounded, because this 9 card is about endings. But yet, you can't have an ending without a new beginning. So remembering that there is magic in the world, but thought, what we think, has huge impact in how we are. But overall, please be gentle with yourself, because deer represents walking through the woods with gentleness, gentle footing, gentle understanding. If you ever see a female deer, it's always about being gentle, because it's time for us to be grounded so we can have a wealthy life with great nourishment. So the short version is that as we're going through life, through our endings and new beginnings, it's really time to work through our scarcity feelings of knowings and those, I don't know what's going to happen. And, because, mindset is huge. So if you believe that you're wealthy, what can happen? Maybe miracles, maybe not. We have to be able to walk forward, though. We have to be willing to do the work. We have to be willing to look into it, because the owl always flies. It flies through the woods. It flies through the unknown to get to its destination. So be willing to go through that, because magic can happen. We can end up in the beautiful butterfly stage if we get through the other stages of life. I do hope this helps. It was very insightful for me. I'm willing to keep trusting the process. I'm willing to keep trusting the process. Because I believe that I can have the wealth of life, knowing though that communication, this is a form of communication to you, that I can go through this birth to rebirth process to have great wisdom. Blessings on this journey. And if you're looking for individual sessions that can help you with this greater wisdom, I'm here for you. Blessed be to you.